Jason Rockman hanging out backstage at Ottawa Comiccon, and with me is pretty much a legend. I'm not trying to date you, but you are a legend, Malcolm McDowell.
Thank you. Well, that doesn't date me.
Well, some people don't like being called legend because they.
Oh, well.
But you are a legend,
Okay.
and probably
Well,
one of the busiest working actors you could look for,
Well,
because you've done a lot of stuff.
Yes, I enjoy work. I do. I'm sort of a workaholic. I love it, and I'm always a bit surprised when they actually pay me for doing this.
Because you really love what you do, don't you?
I do. Yeah, I really do, and I always relish the roles that I get, and at least some of them, most of them, and it's a great privilege to be an actor. I find.
Do you? Is there anything that you look back on in particular that you say it might not have clicked with people, but you're really, really proud of it, and it should have done more than it did?
Oh, there's quite a few of those. Pretty much 90% of the movies I've done, actually.
Because
I'm
44, and growing up,
you don't look too bad. Don't be too sad about it.
No, I'm not sad about it. But I'm 44, and your movie posters and those movies. I mean, growing up as a kid, seeing like a Cat People poster, or seeing like a Clockwork Orange poster when you're a little kid, and especially back then, the movie posters are so iconic. And then when I saw Caligula when I was 13 years old, it's just it.
Did your parents show it to you?
No, my friend and I rented it, and I'll never forget that. But when I rewatched it, it's a good movie. I mean, take out the sex and all the sensationalism.
Why?
It's a solid film.
So it is. I know, and the truth is that. That's why I agreed to do it. By the way, a lot of the sex was added afterwards, but I don't want to get into that now. But there's some marvelous sequences in Caligula, but that's not one of the films that jumps to mind.
No.
Your original question is, do I have films that I love that didn't quite do it at the box office? And I think the first one that comes to mind would be Oh Lucky Man,
right?
A movie I made with Lindy Anderson, which is now considered a masterpiece and a classic of its kind. So that's great. Time After Time didn't do that well when it came out, and I know that people love that movie. It's a cult movie, and I always hate the sort of word cult, because it means that it failed, and now people are kind of finding it. It's like, when we used to say things like, oh, it did very well in France.
Cult.
That it didn't do anything anywhere else, because the French have they have an interesting, actually, perception about stuff.
Yeah.
They're not so linear.
A little more liberal.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm from Montreal, so we've got that influence as well. Yeah. I got to ask you, are you going to be coming back in Heroes?
Oh, I don't know. Probably not, because I'm doing another show now, and, they don't like you mixing with other studios. But Heroes, was a fantastic part for me. I loved playing Lindemann, and I loved everybody, all those wonderful actors on that show. But I think the producers basically shot themselves in the foot, because it was. But I think it was the writer's strike that kind of.
And it was a little ahead of its time.
A
show like that.
It's a fantastic show. I mean, listen, if they said, "Would you come and do one of them?" I'd go in a heartbeat. Yeah, of course. I like the people very much, and Tim Kring, and he's extremely good, and so yes, I would go. But am I going to be a regular? No, absolutely not, because I'm doing a show on Amazon called Mozart in the Jungle.
Oh, nice.
About an orchestra.
Okay.
And the ad line is sex, drugs, and classical music.
Backstage, Ottawa Comiccon with Malcolm McDowell.